In this lesson, we are going to review how to change an improper fraction to a mixed number and a mixed number to an improper fraction. We have already learned this. You learned this in 4th grade too, but this is going to become very important when we get into multiplying mixed numbers very soon, so make sure you remember how to do this. If we look at an example here, 23 over 6 is an improper fraction. I know it's improper because the numerator, the 23, the top number, is larger than 6, which is the denominator, the bottom number. So this wouldn't make any sense because if there are 6 pieces of pizza, like my denominator says, I can't eat 23 of them like the numerator says. So I need to change this to a mixed number. A mixed number is when it has a whole number and a fraction together. So if I were to change this, my first step that I need to do is, just like the song tells me, I take that top number, I'm 23, and I'm going to divide it by 6. So here, just normal division, I know that 6 goes into 23 3 times. That's the closest I can get without going over, because if I went in 4 times, that would be 24, and that's more than 23. So 6 times 3 is 18. And when I subtract these two numbers, I get 5. So in order to make my mixed number, 3 right here, this is my new whole number. And then my fraction is going to become 5 because that's what's left over right here. And my denominator is going to stay 6. It started as 6 and it's going to stay 6. So I know that 23 sixths is the same as 3 and 5 sixths. Let's look at another one. 13 over 5. I know this is improper because, again, my numerator is larger than my denominator. So to fix this, I'm going to take that numerator and I'm going to divide it by my denominator. Here I know that 5 goes into 13 2 whole times because that's as close to 13 as I can get without going over. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract and get 3. So here I know that now 2 is my whole number. My 3 becomes my numerator, and my denominator stays 5. 2 and 3/5 is the answer to that one. If I wanted to go the other way, if I start with this mixed number and I need to change it to an improper fraction, I have to do 2 different things, and the order does matter in how I do this. I'm going to change my color here. I need to add, and I need to multiply. Now, if you remember back to our order of operations, it matters which operation I do first. So I would always multiply before I add. So here, I'm going to go this way. I'm going to start at my denominator, and I'm going to work my way that way. So if I set up my equal sign over here, I'm going to work my way to my answer, starting from the bottom all the way up and around, kind of like a clock would go. So here, I do 6 times 3 first, which gives me 18. I know that 6 times 3 gives me 18. I'm just leaving myself a little note over here. And then I'm going to do 18 plus 5. If I do 18 plus 5, I get 23. And my denominator stays the same. If you notice, that's the same from going from an improper fraction to a mixed number and from a mixed number to an improper fraction. If you remember back to the first example I gave you, I just showed you how to go back and forth between the two. So now let's try this one. You should recognize this one as well. Here, I need to add and multiply. And again, my order of operation would tell me that I should multiply, and then I'll do my adding. So I'm going to go up and around, kind of like a clock. I'm going to start at that bottom denominator. And you can even put it here first if you want to. Because it's 5, it's not going to change. My denominator is going to stay the same. Now I'll do my computation. 5 times 2 gives me 10. I'll leave myself a little note over there. And then 10 plus 3 gives me 13. And again, if you remember the second example I gave you, these match. That's how we get back and forth from improper fractions to mixed numbers and mixed numbers to improper fractions. So here, I would like you to pause this video and see if you can do these before I tell you what the answers are. Then you can check your work on my work and hopefully you get them correct. If I solve these, I know that I need to take my 33 and divide it by 4. I know that 4 goes into 33 8 times, and 8 times 4 is 32. I subtract these and get 1 left over. So now my 1 down here becomes my numerator, and my denominator stays the same. So my denominator is 4. So I know that 33 over 4 is the same as 8 and 1/4. If I jump over here to my mixed number to improper fractions, let's change the color again. I know that I have to multiply and I have to add. Oops. Oh goodness. Multiply and add. Sorry. Try that again. There we go. So 2 times 5 gives me 10, plus 1 more gives me 11, and my denominator stays the same. Awesome. In this lesson, we reviewed how to change an improper fraction to a mixed number and a mixed number to an improper fraction.